Ever think about just how much we rely on sound? I mean, it's everywhere, right? From how we talk to each other to how we experience, like, everything around us. And today, we're diving deep into the future of sound. All this cutting-edge research that's changing, well, everything.
Yeah, it's way bigger than just, the next big song or podcasting trends. We're talking breakthroughs that could completely change how we use tech, how we talk to each other, the whole thing.
Exactly. We've got a whole pile of research here, fresh from the labs, all about sound computing, all from January 28th, 2025. Imagine AI that can copy your voice so well, you'd never know it wasn't you.
Spooky.
Right. Or picture this. You're at a packed coffee shop, noisy as heck, but you can still control your devices with your voice. And they know it's why you, not the person next to you.
And think about folks who struggle to speak. What if tech could not only understand them, but help them communicate more clearly? This isn't sci-fi. This research is happening now.
Feels like we're on the edge of a sound revolution. So first up, we've got Emilia. This research is all about building a massive open-source database for speech generation. The biggest ever, something like 216,000 hours of speech.
You might be thinking, okay, a lot of talking, so what? But this is about capturing how real people actually talk, all the little nuances. You know how virtual assistants can sound robotic?
Yeah, totally.
This is about moving past that, getting AI that can synthesize speech that sounds genuinely human.
So no more boring robot voice reading the news.
Yeah.
We could have a virtual assistant that tells bedtime stories with all the feeling of a real person.
Exactly. Huge implications for audiobooks, virtual assistants, even AI that can have a back and forth that feels totally natural. And to make things even cooler, there's the Amphion toolkit version 0.2. It's like a toolbox for anyone who wants to play around with music and speech generation.
So anyone can get creative with sound, not just the tech giants.
Exactly right. Thanks to this massive database and new models, Amphion lets anyone explore sound. This could lead to so much new creativity in how we use sound every day.
This is awesome, but what about languages that don't have that much data? Not every language has 216,000 hours of recordings lying around, right?
Great point. And that's where research on Armenian and Georgian comes in. Researchers are using some pretty smart techniques to improve speech recognition for these under-resourced languages.
So like making up new words.
Not quite. They're using crowdsourcing and some clever data tricks to get the most out of what they do have. Imagine a world where anyone can use tech in their own language no matter how many people speak it. That's what this research is all about. Breaking down language barriers and making things more accessible.
I like the sound of that. But switching gears a bit, what about folks who have trouble speaking because of medical conditions? Can this sound tech help them too?
Absolutely. That's where research on dysarthric speech recognition comes in. They're looking at how AI can understand speech affected by things like ALS, CP, or Parkinson's, working with a dataset called SAP-1005, specifically focused on Parkinson's speech.
So even if someone's speech is affected by a medical condition, this technology could help them communicate. Wow, that's powerful.
It is. The challenge is that these conditions affect people's speech differently. So they're working on systems that are more broadly useful. And it's not just about understanding, it's about helping people with speech difficulties across all kinds of languages.
So tech isn't just catching up, it's becoming more inclusive. I love it.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff. But just like with any powerful tool, you got to watch out for how it's used.
Uh-oh. Don't tell me there's a way to use sound for, like, evil, is there?
Well, maybe not evil, but there's definitely research that raises some red flags about privacy and security. For example, there's this project called Super Ear. It uses special materials, acoustic metamaterials, to basically eavesdrop without being detected.
Full on, you mean like someone could listen to my calls without me knowing?
It's possible, and that's why we need to be aware of this and have safeguards in place. But the good news is there's also research on how to detect and fight these intrusions.
So it's constant back and forth, huh? As tech gets better, so do the ways to misuse it, but also the ways to detect that misuse.
You got it. And that brings us to something really interesting. Audio language models. This is all about making sense of all this sound data we're generating.
Audio language models. That sounds complicated. What are those?
Imagine being able to transcribe audio, sure, but then also understand what those sounds actually mean. That's what these models are all about. They go beyond just turning speech into text. They're starting to grasp the nuances of sound like we do.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty amazing. But how does that actually affect us, like in the real world?
Think about how we search for information now. It's mostly text, right? But with audio language models, you could search for specific sounds, like find me all the recordings with a dog barking or a baby crying, even in a huge audio library.
That would change everything about how we use audio. What else can these models do?
Well, think about analyzing music, understanding emotions in speech, even how we talk to our devices. Imagine telling your AI, summarize this meeting, but only the parts where people sounded excited. And it actually does it.
No more listening to hours of boring meetings. I like it.
And this leads to another really cool area, music generation. Imagine composing music in real time with AI that learns your taste.
Whoa. So instead of playlists, I could have AI writing music just for me, based on my mood and everything, like the ultimate personalized radio station.
Exactly. It's not just about music, though. Imagine AI that creates soundscapes, calming ones for work, energizing ones for the gym, all tailored to how you're feeling.
Wow. We've gone from AI that sounds more human to AI composing music and even reading our emotions from sound. What's next?
Well, before we get too carried away, there are some real challenges to think about.
Like what? Is someone going to try and control our minds with like sound waves or something?
Not quite. But there are concerns about privacy, security, and the potential for misuse. That's something we'll dig into deeper in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. We'll have to explore the potential downsides of this sonic revolution and what it all means for everyone.
So we were just talking about this incredible world of sound and tech and how fast it's all changing. But like any powerful tech, there's always two sides to it.
Right, the good and the bad, all these amazing possibilities, but also some potential downsides.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to dig into now. The ethics of all this, the potential risks, give you a more complete picture.
Makes sense. Let's start with that super ear thing we talked about, stealthy eavesdropping. That's kind of scary.
Yeah, no kidding. It really shows why we need rules and safeguards. Imagine anyone could listen to your private conversations without you knowing. Not a good thought.
Definitely raises some serious privacy issues. What can we even do about that?
Well, first off, just being aware of it is huge. The more people understand what's possible, the more they'll demand, protections.
So knowledge is power, right?
Yeah.
But what about tech solutions? Anything that can, like, detect or block these eavesdropping devices?
Absolutely. Researchers are working on things like acoustic cloaking, basically making a space invisible to sound waves, like a personal sound shield.
That sounds like something out of Star Trek. This whole future of sound is starting to feel like science fiction.
I know, right? But let's move on to another issue. We talked about AI voice cloning, how real it's getting, tons of good uses, sure, but it also opens the door to, faking and manipulating people.
Yeah, if anyone can make a perfect copy of my voice, how do I know it's really ME on a recording or a phone call?
Exactly. That's why we need strong ways to verify who's speaking. Researchers are looking at things like unique vocal biomarkers, things about your voice that are super hard to copy.
Like a sonic fingerprint, huh? That's kind of reassuring. But what about the impact on, our emotions? If we get used to talking to AI all the time, do we lose that connection with real people?
That's a fascinating question. Some experts think AI companions could actually help us be more empathetic and understanding.
Really? How?
Well, imagine an AI that helps you understand your own WN emotions, or maybe one that, simulates different social situations so you can practice your people skills.
Never thought of it that way. Like having a personal emotional coach, 24/7.
Yeah.
But could we get too attached to these AI companions and, neglect real relationships?
That's definitely something to think about. It's all about finding that balance, right?
Balance is key, yeah. But before we get too bogged down on the downsides, let's remember all the good this sound tech can do. We talked about personalized soundscapes before. What exactly does that mean?
Imagine walking into any space, and the soundscape is just perfect for you. Need to focus at work, there's a soundscape for that. Want to relax and de-stress, different soundscape.
It's like a sound therapist creating the perfect atmosphere for whatever you're doing.
Exactly. This could be huge for our well-being, how productive we are, our whole quality of life. Hospitals using soundscapes for healing, schools using them for learning. The possibilities are endless.
This all sounds amazing, but how far off is it? Is this just a dream or something we'll see soon?
Well, some of it is already happening. There are algorithms being developed right now that can read your emotions and create soundscapes in real time. And there are even apps you can download that do some of this already.
Wow, so this isn't just a fantasy, it's happening. This is all really exciting, but I gotta admit, I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed. The future of sound is moving so fast.
I get it. It's a lot to take in. But that's what makes it so cool. We're at the start of a sound revolution, and it's up to all of us to shape how this tech changes our world.
You're right. We have to be informed and make sure this tech is used for good, not for harm.
Exactly. That's what this deep dive is all about. Giving you the info you need to understand this exciting and sometimes scary new world of sound. But before we wrap this up, there's one more thing we need to cover.
Oh, what's that?
We need to talk about how this tech is already being used to make a difference in people's lives right now. Real-world applications.
Right, we've talked a lot about potential, but what about the actual benefits people are seeing already?
Well, stay tuned because that's what we're going to get into in the last part of our deep dive.
All right, welcome back for the last part of our sound deep dive. We've talked about the good, the bad, but now let's get real. How is this sonic revolution actually helping people right now?
Yeah, it's amazing to see this tech going from labs to, real life, actually making a difference for people, their health, their well-being, how they connect with the world.
Exactly. So remember how we talked about sound tech helping people who have trouble speaking?
Right. Well, one area that's really taking off is brain-computer interfaces for communication. Like, imagine a system that can translate your thoughts, what you're thinking, into spoken words. No physical speech needed.
Whoa. Okay, that sounds super sci-fi. Is that even possible?
Researchers are making it happen. There's this study towards dynamic neural communication and speech neuroprosthesis based on Vizimi decoding. It's looking at how brain signals can actually control a speech synthesizer.
Okay, gotta be honest. I don't know what a VSIMI is.
No worries. Basically, it's the visual part of speech sounds, how our mouths move to make different sounds. Think lip reading, but a computer's doing it instead of a person.
So instead of trying to figure out the words in someone's head, the system's looking at how their mouth would move if they said those words.
Yep, exactly. And by focusing on VSIMs, they're getting systems that can generate much more natural-sounding speech, smoother and more fluent.
Wow, that's amazing. So someone who can't physically talk could communicate through a computer just by thinking about the words.
That's the goal. And this research is a huge step toward making that a reality.
That's really powerful stuff, using tech to help people communicate like that.
It is. And it's not just for people with speech problems. This kind of tech could also be used to spot early signs of cognitive decline, conditions like Alzheimer's. That could lead to early treatment and better outcomes.
So it's not just about communication and fun. Sound tech is a real tool for healthcare too.
Absolutely. The more we learn about sound and AI, the more uses we'll find in medicine. But let's switch gears a bit. Remember that AI music stuff we talked about?
Yeah, AI writing custom music. Still can't get over that.
Well, guess what? You can try it out yourself right now. There are apps and platforms using algorithms to analyze your listening, make you custom playlists, even compose new music just for you.
No way. So it's not just a future thing, it's here. Got to check that out. But I still wonder, can a machine really make music as good as a human? With all the emotion and artistry.
That's the big question, right? And the answer is, well, it's complicated. But instead of thinking about AI replacing musicians, think of it as a new tool musicians can use.
So collaboration, not competition.
Right. There's some really cool research on human-in-the-loop reinforcement learning for music. Basically, you're working with an AI that throws out musical ideas, harmonies, melodies, all in real time based on what you're doing.
Whoa, like an AI jamming buddy that's always on the same wavelength.
Exactly. And this could really unlock new levels of creativity in music, things we can't even imagine yet.
Okay, last thing I wanted to touch on again. Personalized soundscapes.
Oh, yeah, I'm really excited about this one.
Me too. Imagine a sonic environment that changes to match your mood, helps you focus, or just chills you out.
Picture coming home after a crazy day, and the soundscape just automatically makes the vibe calm and relaxed. Or imagine an office where the soundscape subtly changes throughout the day to keep people focused and productive.
It's like sonic architecture, right? Designing the perfect sound environment for every situation.
Exactly. And this isn't just some future fantasy. Researchers are building algorithms right now that can read your emotions and create personalized soundscapes, all in real time.
Wow. So not just pre-recorded sounds or whatever. AI is making unique soundscapes just for you on the fly.
Yep. Using sound to improve our lives in a totally personalized way.
My mind's officially blown. We've just scratched the surface of what sound tech can do.
We have. The future of sound is wide open, and it's up to us to make sure we use it wisely and ethically.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm feeling really optimistic, really excited about what's coming next for sound. This sonic revolution is going to change how we experience the world, that's for sure.
It is. And to everyone listening, keep those ears open and stay curious. The future of sound is like a symphony waiting to be written, and we all have a part to play in composing it.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of sound. Keep exploring, keep listening, and keep wondering.